All right, and we are live, and we've got some more people jumping in here in our panel as we do that. So we won't get to say hi to you before we go live, but we'll get around there. So it is Tuesday night. It is a little after 9 o'clock due to some computer issues. The computer decided to restart right when I came in to get everything started, which sets me back by about 15 minutes. So the fact that it's only 9:07 here, I think we're doing all right on the technical difficulties side. So if that's the worst thing that happens all night, then we'll consider ourselves pretty lucky. Thanks for joining us, everybody. This is 2A Tuesday. Today is June the 4th. And hold on here. I got stuff still popping up on the computer trying to get in front of my windows. Good old AVG finally decided to kick in. Speaking of technical difficulties, you know what happened? I said, if that's the worst thing that happens. And then that happened. So hopefully it doesn't affect our live feed. Who do we have with us? I think it's just going to sit back there and ask me to buy something because it's not updated, but that's all right. Over on Gun Channels, looks like we've got Gung Ho in the house. We've got, let's see, that's Guitar Man Pete, and we've got Gun Loving Grandpa over there. So what's up over on the Gun Channel side? And I think all three of those guys are also in the YouTube chat. Guitar Man Pete was first, and Gun Loving Grandpa was in there. We've got my beautiful better half, Sandhills Sweetheart, in the chat as well. Stephen Brown is here. What else? Who else is here? Oh, SS Pawn is in the house. What's up, Stan? Go check out SS Pawn in Lexington, Nebraska for all your firearm needs.
Right on.
If he doesn't have it, he can get it. Although looking at all the videos that Travis has been putting up for stuff from Stan's personal collection, dude, I just want to go through your gun safe sometime. I'm just saying it. I got to make a trip down there and actually meet you face to face. Gung Ho is there and on here and on Gun Channels. D-Temp's in the house. Joe Ziola, 2 Live Moo, Blue Steel 44, 7 Wonders. Rich White is there and on the panel. Mike is here. What's up, Mike? Obnoxious is doing double duty also. It looks like you're first, apparently. So thanks for being first, Obnoxious. And then we will say hi to everybody as we go through. Of course, Sandhills Sweetheart is doing multitasking right now. She is she's keeping track of who's in the chat. She is keeping track of what's being said out there. Keep it clean and classy, everybody. There are ladies present. We're not going to put up with anything that is disrespectful. And then also, as we get into our topic tonight, she's going to kind of just write down everything that gets mentioned too, because there's a reason why we're having the topic that we're having tonight. So real quick, we will introduce everybody who has joined us. Let's see, which side are we going to start with first? Let's let the lady go first. We've got Frankie's Guns and Glitter in the house. What's up, Frankie?
Good evening, good evening. How's everyone doing today?
We're all great. Thanks for joining us. Always a pleasure to have a female perspective on the panel.
Speaking of female perspectives, I dropped another video this past week from a female's perspective on my Glock 43X, and it has really taken off. I already got like 209 views, so if you want to check that out, just go over to my channel.
That is awesome. Are you out in the YouTube chat right now?
I'm about to be.
Have I given you a wrench yet? Because once I get you a wrench, then you can actually drop a link to that yourself. So remind me if you get in there, and there you are. You got a wrench. You can put a link up over in the chat for that so everybody can go check that out. But not right now because we're hanging out right here. So check Frankie's video out after we close the chat tonight. Next up, we have got the first guy in the YouTube chat. Obnoxious One is here.
Yo. Take me down to the Paradise City.
That's right.
Where the grass is green and the girls are pretty.
I have heard that.
Take me home.
I have heard that many, many times. Yes. I believe that's where they are. Okay, and we skipped somebody who jumped in right as I was introducing Obnoxious. We've got my favorite neighbor to the south, everybody's favorite tactical rooster. Gizzard Gary's here.
Hey, thanks for the invite.
Yeah, thanks for being here.
Bet.
All right. since we're going left to right, but we're zigzagging, that brings us over to This Week Unloaded with Rich White. What's up?
Hey, how's it going? I always knew that Noxious was a charity case looking for something to eat. And he swears he'll pay you at another time.
Interesting. All right. Well, I don't know what to follow that up with. So let's move over to Squiblift. Squiblift is in the house, although you may or may not be able to talk.
Actually, I was able to weasel my last break right now, so but I do appreciate the fact that you recognize that every time I come on here, and you still send me an invite. And you'll notice that I've got a different avatar. This is my B channel. The name of the channel has changed, and the videos over there are not the same as the ones on the Squiblo channel. There might be a few that are similar, but they're not the same. So they're not one. Excuse me, one and the same.
Awesome. So,
and Sandhills, of course, this is your doing. This is your mad scientist evil creation.
I take full credit for the name Squiblift. I also take full credit if you start like an alternate B, C channel, whatever it is, then you have to call it Squibward, because that's one of the things I like to call Squib when he pops into the panel.
There is actually a C channel with no videos on it yet, but it's nowhere near that name.
Is that the lift load channel? Is that? You're gonna run out of combinations eventually.
I even have plans for a D. I have a D channel. I have plans for a D channel, but I don't think I'm going to do it.
Wow. Right. So here's what's happening. If anybody ever gets trolled, we're just going to assume it's you with one of your many multitude of channels. You've got a multiverse going on of places that you can be found now. So,
well, Forklift Guy is still out there. And, you know, like I said in the original video, you know, any one of us could be Forklift Guy, but this channel from here on out is Squiblift, thanks to you.
Awesome. All right. And I see that we've got Old Glory covered up. Somebody has come in the door and left it open. I will be right back. Talk amongst yourselves. Hold on.
So, Squib, you're turning into quite the foodie lately with the content on your channel, huh?
Yeah. Food reviews are so easy. No wonder Midnight Range TM does cooking stuff. No,
you'll hit 1 million subs in no time if you do food reviews.
Yeah, I don't know about that, but yeah, food reviews. I haven't had the time or money to do some gun stuff. Plus, now it's gardening season, so I filmed my 3rd gardening video for this year today. So there'll be stuff like that going on. Mr. Big Kid did a video of a train where he put the camera on the track so you got to see the underside. And I'm going to try to do one over the top of a train now because of him. So I've been getting inspiration from all you guys. I mean, yourself included, Travis. I mean, you're the one that kind of gave me the idea on the coffee videos. When you said you ran out of coffee, I'm like, oh, well, I can do some coffee videos in the meantime. You know, so I get a lot of the video I released today, on the Squiblo channel. That idea came from Sarge. So you guys are giving me all kinds of stuff to work with. As a matter of fact, I've got some requests that I am backed up on. I owe some people some videos.
You're backed up? You're backed
you're
up?
Gonna take,
hang out on the closer.
Bawoosh. Yeah, the closer video, Bawoosh, for this week, I actually, when I went back and looked at the footage for that one, I really had to piece it together. So if it looks a little, or if it seems a little bit jigsaw puzzle, that's not on purpose. That's not because I have some sort of artistic skill. That's me going, how am I going to make this into a video? You'll see.
All right, so I'm just curious, if you're taking inspiration from Travis P11, then does that mean that pretty soon we're going to see a tabletop review of a train?
Ooh. Squib, are you one of those train guys? Do you have a train set in it with your ducker hat?
If you want the best ideas for your channel, kids, you got to come to Sandhills Shooter. I've got 1 million of them. Just saying.
If I was going to do a tabletop review of a locomotive, I would have to come out to your side of town, because I would go to to Omaha and go up there to Kennefic Park and do a tabletop review of the big boy up there.
Or if you really want, we can go an hour west to Travis's house to the biggest UP yard in the nation,
where they have a running big boy, an operational one. Yeah.
So I mean, you know, it's worth another road trip this way, I think, sometimes.
So if I went in there and I said, "Hey, I know Travis P11," do you think they would?
Yeah, they'd be like, "Oh, wow, we'll give you the exclusive tour."
Yeah.
You know?
Well, the first thing I'd say is, who doesn't know Travis P11?
Man,
but
I'll tell
speaking
you what,
of which,
it's tough sometimes.
Here's the thing.
Yeah, right.
There may be somebody out here who does not know Travis P11. So let's give him a chance real quick to introduce himself, because this dude, I tell you what, honestly, he can claim 90% of the credit for me being live doing a podcast every week. So I owe almost everything in my online existence to him. And Travis, who are you?
Well, I'm Pisces, and I'm. Oh no! Wait a minute. Yeah. No, guys.
He likes long walks on the beach,
yes,
pina coladas, and getting caught in the rain.
I've got a corgi and a cat, and you know, I'm happily married.
and a wife.
Yeah, exactly. If you've never checked out my channel before, it's got a variety of content. It primarily is centered around firearms reviews, cleaning videos, things like that. But I do review just a little bit of everything, just for fun. And I've got a B channel also that's got technology videos on it, coffee reviews and stuff. But otherwise, you can check me out Thursday nights from 5 to 7 Central, 6 to 8 East Coast time. We've got Caliber Corner, which is a podcast we do where we talk about a variety of firearms-related topics. And check it out on rungunchannels.com and guntube.org. So that's what we do, man. Now, I appreciate the shout out for everything, but man, you bring some quality content, man. You got some solid podcasts you've been doing. So there you go.
Just saying,
it's good stuff, man.
I wouldn't be here if I had not found out there was somebody else in my state doing this stuff. So
all right, man.
So it's cool. All right.
I hate to break in here for a second, but I just want to put a pro tip out there for everybody. If you're on a Hangout and you sign out of your Google Mail account, it will sign you out of the Hangout.
Yep.
It's good to know.
So, pro tip. You're welcome.
You got that, Squib, for your 7 aliases?
All right. And it looks like out there in the chat, Joe Smith has joined us. I tell you what, Joe Smith, I'm still not sure that Joe Smith, he might be The Rock, but he's always sending me emails trying to get me to meet him up in the ring and stuff, and I don't want to break your heart, Joe Smith, and I don't want to embarrass you in public, so I'm not going to hand your butt to you in a ring. It's enough to know that I could, and we'll just leave it at that.
Yay!
Besides, all of the light work Sandhills Sweetheart does for me, so you'd have to go through her to get to me, and nobody can get past her. So, no, seriously, go check out Joe Smith. He's got some funny stuff, some cool videos up there on his channel. So, all right, so we're gonna get into our topic tonight. Here's what's going on. We're almost a two-member household with concealed carry permits. The Sandhills Sweetheart, for those of you who don't know, passed her course and qualified with the handgun, and she's got an appointment later in the week to go to the state patrol office and get the fingerprints done and go through the background check, and then it's just a matter of waiting, a month and a half or so before the permit comes in the mail, and then she'll be able to concealed carry if she chooses to. And she may or she may not. She's just kind of getting her feet wet right now with the whole idea of it. But the biggest thing is I want to be able to, if we're traveling together, I want to be able to have a gun like in the glove box or in the center console of the vehicle, and not have to remember every time we get back in the car that's got to come out of there so that she's not violating Nebraska state law. The way the law works in Nebraska, if I'm driving down the road and I'm by myself and I have a gun in my glove box and I have a Nebraska concealed carry permit, then I'm legal. That's not a violation of the law. Let's say that your car breaks down and I give you a ride into town. You don't have a concealed carry permit and we get pulled over for whatever reason. The police officer decides to search the car, finds that concealed permit, which I am legally obligated to let the officer know that I have the permit and that the gun is there. And so if that were to happen, then the officer is going to ask for your permit. And if you haven't got one that is recognized by the state of Nebraska or issued by the state of Nebraska, then you are in violation of a concealed weapon without a permit. Not me, I'm legal. And so, which it's dumb, but that's how the law works. So if we hop back in the car, we're driving down the road, I forgot to take the gun out of the center console, then my wife is technically in violation of the law until she gets her permit. And that's the biggest reason why we want to get her permit. Plus, if she's traveling someplace without me, then she has the option of going armed. And hopefully next week we're going to recruit some people, and I will get into that here in a second. But we're gonna hopefully have a chat next week that talks about trying to avoid those situations entirely and never need to draw a firearm. But that's what's going on. So because of that, then it's also the next logical step is that logic, according to me anyway, that my brain took is, well, what about vehicle firearms that we can buy and just keep them in the vehicle? And that way, they're there if something happens and one or the other of us, is going along and we forgot to, for whatever reason, didn't put the holster on that day. We're not carrying, but we still have that firearm close at hand in the vehicle, should the need arise. And so that being said, you don't want to leave a firearm in a vehicle that is very expensive. Obviously, you don't want to leave a whole lot of anything of value in your vehicle because it's too easy to break into a car, pick up van, whatever it is, and steal what's in it and run away. Even with an alarm, you're going to get something and run away. So you don't want to have, an $800, $1,000, $2,000 gun in your vehicle just waiting to be snatched if that would happen to be the case. So that's why we want to have just kind of a list, and we're going to go through the panel, and I want everybody out in the chat to also supply some answers too. Just some great firearms, and I'm not going to say pistol or rifle or shotgun. It can be anything, doesn't matter what it is. But we're going to just put a cap at $350 for price. Now we can fudge that a little bit. I'm not saying, well, that, if that gun is $355, that it can't go on the list. It's not what we're doing. I just want good guns that are, in that $350 range or less. So, because anything more than that, and you're getting into more than I'm willing to leave in a vehicle. And I don't know what your budget is, but I mean, $350 is a lot of money. So that's what we want to list. But I don't want you guys just to say, well, you can get the Taurus, you can get the High Point, you can, these are all guns that are listed. I can go to websites. I can shop. I know what's out there for the price. Okay. I'm not asking what's cheap. I'm asking what you like. So I want to know not only what gun you would recommend, but why. Tell me what you like about that gun. Tell me what maybe if there's something you don't like about a certain gun. Maybe if we get time, we'll go back through and we'll go through a list of guns that we wouldn't recommend. I know Travis has one or two on his list that he would tell people to stay away from. Maybe we all do. But for now, I just want to know what you would recommend, and we're not going to tear anybody's ideas apart until later, and then we'll see if we can keep the discussion from getting too lively. We're not gonna come at each other in here. But the biggest thing is I want to make sure that we're not just listing guns, because there's so many videos out there of budget guns under this price point or whatever. We can all do our own shopping. I think most of us, if you found this chat, then you can probably find a website and see what prices are. So I want to know why you like the guns that you like in a certain price point. So that being said, we're going to let Travis lead off with, I don't care if you got one or 10 or whatever you want to say.
I got basically four ideas that I would push for and the reasons why. All right, on the uber low end, I'm a big fan of the Taurus G2C PT111 G2. We own several of them. They're inexpensive. They go bang every time. We have probably 4 or 5 of them in our family. They've always been reliable. They're the kind of gun that if it would ever be taken into defensive shooting or, God forbid, it gets stolen from you out of your vehicle, you're only out about $200, sometimes less. You got about a 12+1 capacity. Magazines are readily available. There's a lot of holster options available too. So if you want to get a vehicle holster, they're out there now. So that's kind of my low end that I would go with, that I would actually trust my life to, just because we have them and fire the heck out of them. And they do run. If we had problems with them, I'd make a video on that.
Yes, you
Now
would.
the mid range, I would go for two. I would go for a Gen 3, or if you can get it, a Gen 4 Glock 17 or a Glock 19. You can get those for $299 to $350 LEO trade-in. I'd go for a Gen 3 because you can get a replacement recoil spring for 20 or 30 bucks. Magazines are readily available, and you've got a proven combat and police pedigree for that gun, where it's going to work if it needs to. Not that it can't fail. Every gun can fail, but I think you've got a higher probability of the gun working if it's either a Glock. And then my other suggestion, around the $350 range, is another LEO trade-in, Smith & Wesson M&P. 9 or 40, same capacity as the Glock, lower overall retail price than the Glock when you buy them new. I don't know if you can get an M&P 1.0 for $350. I've seen them for $415, $450, But again, I see LEO ones you just look up LEO trade-in pistols, and there's tons of websites that sell them. Okay. And you can pay a little bit, but you can easily get into those for under $350. So those are my three suggestions for straight up handguns, regular pistols. And then the fourth suggestion, go ahead.
I was just going to say, for those of you who maybe don't know, LEO means law enforcement officer. So used police trade-in guns. When departments upgrade their pistols, then they sell the old ones off. So that's what Travis is talking about.
And just a quick tip, if you do order one, I don't know how this works. If you don't want it, if you want to send it back, I don't know how that works if you don't want the gun, but look at it before you walk out of the store with it, because most of the time they're in really good condition because they only get used once a year for qualifications. But if you happen to get one that was a range gun or an academy gun, it might have the rifling shot out of it. It might be in really bad condition and need more repairs than it's worth, or the outside condition might look like it's been run over by a truck. So keep that in mind if you're going to get one. It's okay if it's got some scuff and some holster wear. That's normal, but you don't want something that looks like it's been drugged down a gravel road, at the same time. Now, at $300, you can actually get this. I just priced this. You can get, and my last suggestion would be some sort of an AR pattern pistol. And you can get a Bear Creek Upper and 300 Blackout for $188. You can get a PSA pistol load for $119. That'll put you in at $307, not counting any kind of sights or magazine. All right, so you could easily get under $350. You can get a substantial amount of firepower in a fairly compact package, 10.5-inch barrel, or with 300 Blackout, you can always go shorter. You can go as short as 8.5 or 9 inches if you want to. That's going to give you 30 rounds of 30 caliber ammunition. That would be, to me, the ultimate truck gun or get home gun. You're also not investing in it heavily. If something would happen to it, you're not out a $600 or $800 rifle. You're only out $300, $350. You can buy ammo for it at any Walmart now. You can technically use 5.56 magazines. I'd recommend the 300 Blackout just because of in my opinion, you're getting a more substantial round, more powerful round out of the shorter barrel than you do with an AR-15, than the 5.56 rifle. So I'd push for some sort of a 300 Blackout pistol, which you can easily get under $350. So you're not going to necessarily get a brace or a stock on it, Well, you can't put a stock, obviously, because of SBR rules. But I'm just saying, any kind of hell, they might as well be stocks anymore. It's what they look like, So I would definitely say go that route. That'd be my fourth option. So
okay, and real quick out in the chat, Blue Steel 44 asked about the vehicles. Well, for our household right now, one Tahoe and one Ford Taurus, but I don't want this to be just all about us. Somebody might find this video later on and go through and be looking for ideas like I was when I first was looking for ideas, which is why I don't just want a list of guns, because anybody can find that, and there's tons of videos. So we're not going to make it specific to any one vehicle. If anybody wants to say, well, for a compact car, this works better, or for a full-size van, this works. You can say that. That's fine, but we're just not going to limit it to just what vehicles we have at our house, because I want this to be a video that anybody can learn from and get great ideas from. So, all right. So let's move over to. Let's see. We'll give Squib a chance to get out and on the road.
We've got a question.
Oh, we've got a question.
Seven Wonders
Says what?
Wants to know, and he's being serious, will polymer guns withstand the extreme heat of a hot summer?
In a black vehicle with the windows up. That's a great question. I tell you what, Seven Wonders, do a little research because I've never actually watched the videos, but I have seen some pictures. And I don't know if these were legitimately taken from a vehicle or if somebody cooked one in an oven just to prove a point. But I mean, I've seen polymer pistols that were melted. So
let me make one real quick suggestion. If you want to get a $350 all metal gun, just go get yourself a Stoeger Cougar in 940 or 45. You can buy them used for $350, sometimes new for $350. That's the Turkish-made version of the Beretta Cougar.
Okay.
Made on Beretta machining. Just they moved it to Turkey so they could sell it for under $700. So Stoeger Cougar would be an all-metal gun if you're worried about a polymer frame melting.
Yeah,
So,
you can also sometimes find the police trade-ins of the old Smith & Wessons, like the
5099. Yeah.
Gen
Or
3
around
Smiths all day.
299, 300, in that range. So
excellent. Okay, so
good question.
Great question. So yeah, if you're worried about that, especially if you live maybe in the Southwest, where you know there's days where it's 120 in the shade, I can see that being a very legitimate thing to find out. And I think that there's probably extreme heat torture tests on a lot of guns out there if you do some research. So maybe just check that out. But that is something to keep in mind if you live in a climate where there are extreme temperatures, especially heat. Extreme cold probably isn't going to be near as much of a problem. Even with a polymer frame, most of these polymers are high quality, and they're not going to get real brittle, even at 20 below zero. But the heat can definitely make a difference. And keep in mind, too, if you've got, an all-steel gun or even all-aluminum gun, if it's 120 in the shade, then it's 140, 150 in your car. Plan ahead when you go to grab that sucker, too. So it makes a huge difference there. All right, so we'll let Squib get on the road and let us know when you are available to talk, and we'll circle back to you, Squib. So let's move over to Rich. What would you have for suggestions, and again, why?
Well, my first thing came to my head was an SKS. You can still find them for around $350 if you search around for them. And if you get in a stranded situation or you have a few people coming at you, you could, it's a battle-proven rifle. And if you're in a stranded situation somewhere, like if you're out riding in the woods and your car breaks down or what have you, like if you're leaving your campsite or whatever, you can use that to supply food. You can easily take an animal like a deer with an SKS. So,
I have actually, yes. It's a great gun for that.
Yeah. If you can find them, they're $350. Yeah, that would be one of my suggestions. And I was going to go down the same road like what Travis did with the used M&Ps, the Leo trade-ins. They'll come with night sights. Most of them, the night sights will still be working. You'll get more than one mag in some cases. Some cases you only get one mag, but that's the same with the Glock police trade-ins too. Sometimes you only get one mag with them. Sometimes you get two. Most of the ones I've seen lately have had two magazines with them. I actually saw one where it came with 3 magazines. So but you can get them in either, like Travis was saying, 9 or 40. So that's an option there. I personally own a couple of different M&Ps of different calibers and sizes. Another one would be the Shield. The Gen 1 Shields can be found for under $300 these days. You can get the Gen 2 for around $300, maybe a little bit more, including ones that have the built-in laser if you find them on sale. If you like having a laser on your handgun.
I was just going to interrupt you there. I was just looking at PSA. You can, and I don't even think it's a daily deal right now. You can get the Gen 1 Shield just like this, and you can see this one has no external safety. I saw both models earlier when I was poking around, and they're both $249 at PSA.
Oh my God!
So
yeah.
and I paid. This was on sale when I bought it, and I was just checking when I saw that. I'm like, how long have I had this? Fall of 2016 is when I bought this, and I bought it on sale. I got it for $350. So that's $100 less than what I paid for mine. So you can't go wrong. Rich is right. It's a great gun. So, all right, Rich, I cut you off. Go ahead and finish up.
Another one I was going to say, it's another one that I own. It's another M&P, it will be the Shield 380 EZ, especially if you're somebody who has issues with your arm in some way, but whether it be an injury, some type of disability, arthritis, whatever. They're extremely easy to rack the slide on. They have a nice single action trigger pull. And they're hammer fired, so you don't have to worry about your striker breaking or anything, which sometimes you'll get with a striker fired pistol. But so yeah, that'll be another one I would recommend. And they're real easy to load the magazines too. I have one of my magazines right here. I know you guys have probably seen the 22 magazines and have the little tabs to pull down the follower. These have those same tabs, so you can actually pull down the follower to make it easier to load. So for somebody who has a disability or something, that the 380 EZ may be a good choice for that situation. You can find them for around $350 now, especially since they got the performance only ones coming out. They've lowered the prices somewhat in some stores, so you could possibly find that in your area for under $350 or under, maybe a little bit more, but it's well worth the price. There was something else. I already said that. There was one other one, but now I can't remember what it was.
I tell you what, when the Shield 380 EZ came out, I wasn't sure about it when I first saw it, especially that big old huge grip safety on the back of it that sticks out. But I have never fired one. I've just I've held them in the gun store, but never fired one. But everybody that I have talked to that has one, every review that I've watched online or read online, they all say that it's the real deal. So you've got one. You can attest to that then.
Yeah, the recoil on that is nothing like what you get with the smaller 380s, like the pocket guns. This thing, its recoil is very light. It's very manageable. And it's very easy recoiling because of the size. We're talking about a gun that's almost G19 size, but it's a single stack. So it's still got some size to it to help mitigate that recoil. It's not snappy like those little 380s are, like an LCP or Smith & Wesson Bodyguard. But it's still small enough where it's easy to conceal it on your person. It's not a pocket gun by any imagination, but you can easily get it in an inside the waistband holster and forget it's there. It's really, really small as far as that's concerned, with it being a belt pack.
From my experience with concealed carry, especially inside the waist or even outside the waist, but any waist carry, it doesn't matter as much barrel length, but I mean the length of the grip makes a difference, but the thickness of the gun, that's huge. That's why I love my Shield. Obviously, it's a shorter barrel. It doesn't shoot for me as well as my Glock 19 with the longer sight radius and longer barrel. But the fact that I can with a tuckable holster, I can make that gun disappear and nobody can tell that it's there. I just love that part of it. So it's why I carry the Shield, even though I like my Glock better. And we haven't yet been to the range. We're hoping maybe tomorrow, and if we do, we'll get some pictures and some video. But we haven't shot the PPQ yet. But I'm afraid I'm going to fall in love with it, and we'll probably be getting another one.
Yeah, have you seen they came out? They now have a 4-inch barrel Shield. I
haven't seen it yet, but I know of it. I haven't seen one anywhere yet, but yeah, I know that they're doing that. So yeah, we'll have to see how that goes too. All right. So any other recommendations before we move over to Obnoxious there, Rich?
An inexpensive AR. You can't go wrong with an inexpensive AR, whether it's a pistol or a rifle length. You can get you go to PSA, you can find, even if you have to buy the parts separate, you can put one together for around $300, $350 if you get just the basic stuff.
Okay. All right, and I don't want you to answer now, but just everybody kind of be thinking, because when we come back around to things we don't recommend, I'm going to ask if there's any brand to stay away from when it comes to ARs, because I honestly know nothing about an AR. I've sent one round ever downrange through an AR, so that's all my experience. So we'll get into that, and then Sam of Anarchy out there, we're going to get into this too, not right now. But he wants to know the best sawed-off shotgun for $350 or under. Now, I know you don't mean sawed-off shotgun; those are illegal, and I don't think you even mean an SBS. So I don't know if you mean like a firearm like a Mossberg Shockwave or something like that, or if you really are meaning, we'll get into it, but we're not going to talk about anything obviously that is that's illegal. But Sam, we will get to that for you.
I'm glad he brought that up. That reminded me of the one that I forgot, and I even have one sitting here next to me, which makes it even that worse. The Mossberg Shockwave. You can get the 12 gauge versions for $350 or under right now. A lot of places are marking them down more since the original version, since they've come out with the nightstick and the magazine fed ones and the more tactical one that SPX or whatever it is. But they've marked the base Mossberg Shockwave in 12 gauge. You can find them $350 or under now. I forget what store it was. It might have been Classic. They had them on sale like yesterday, day before for $299.
Now the other gauges, the 20 gauge, the 410 bore, are those not that low, or are they even cheaper?
The 20 gauge actually costs more than what the 12 gauge does because they don't make as many of them. But
Okay.
that's the one I have. I have the 20 gauge right here.
Okay.
They were advertised for $299 on Palmetto this morning for the 20 gauge.
Yeah, usually they run a little bit more than what the 12 does, but you can catch them on sale for around the same price. I know I got this one a few months ago, and this one was more than what the 12 was. I got the 20 because this size, it's going to be less recoil. And I tell you, with this brace on it, my wife didn't like. She said it hurt, but I didn't. It didn't bother me at all shooting this size Shockwave in 20 gauge with my SP tactical brace on it.
Okay. Yeah, and Sam did clarify he means just a regular 12 gauge with a pistol grip, so full length barrel, just with the pistol grip on it.
I don't know. I'm not. If he's talking about without a stock, I'm not a fan of the Mossberg Cruisers. They're if you go over to InRange TV, they did a test with I think it was a double barrel shotgun, just your standard shotgun with a stock, and the Cruisers. The Cruiser was the worst one of the batch.
Okay. Well, I can see that it'd be a lot harder to control.
They were actually able to get off faster, more accurate shots with the double barrel than they could with the Cruiser.
Wow. Okay. All right. So, we will move over now to Obnoxious. And again, you know the drill here. What are you going to recommend? But not only what, also why?
All of them, and because I'm going to go with basically the same thing that Travis went with. Is you go get yourself an LEO, either an M&P or a Shield, or you get a Glock trade-in. All those are going to be, fairly current guns. There's nothing. You're not going to get any big surprises out of any of those. Mm-hmm. And you're going to have the easy accessibility to magazines, holsters, all that stuff on those. And I'd also throw in, a third gen Smith if you can find one. If you want something that's metal that's going to soak up that, recoil, then it's hard to beat a third gen Smith. But okay. On most of those, you're going to give up having any kind of rail on them. Like I got my CHP trade-in that has the integrated rail, and then they did have the ones where they added a rail onto them. You can get those, but those are going to probably run you. Those are going to run you a little over the 350, but you can get the the third gen Smiths for 350 all day long.
That's the 50 series, the 5090 or 5096 or yeah.
Yep.
Awesome.
Yeah, or you get like I got the CHP is a 4006 TSW. So, and that has the integrated rail, but those are getting hard to find because they're the CHP ones and got the integrated rail, and I think I gave $430 for it. So they're a little bit more than just the regular third gens.
All right, and I just refreshed gun channels because the chat has not been auto refreshing. I've even got the little chat window popped out at the bottom too. But I just want to shout out Gung Ho over on the gun channel side was saying that he just won a bidding war on a house for his family. So Gung Ho, congratulations. That is awesome. Okay, so back over to the YouTube side here. All right, let's move over to Gary. As far as vehicle carry, what do you like and why do you like it? Even if you don't have it, what would you recommend? I can see you, pal, but I can't hear you.
I hit the wrong button. Sorry.
It's all right. You're looking good tonight.
Yeah, thanks. Now I normally carry on me, so I don't keep something in my car. But if I were to do so, it would probably be one of 3 or 4 guns. I mean, I've got to go with Travis on the Taurus PT-111 G2 or the G2C, either one. They're just owned one for 4 years, and it's a very easy to shoot gun, very well performing. If you've got smaller hands, perhaps something like a Ruger EC9S or something like that, with a little bit thinner grip, single stack. If you're really worried, which I wouldn't be, about the polymer, you could go with something like a Star BM, which you could pick up for right around $200. Or if you want something without a safety, now if somebody's not that used to using guns, you want something they can grab and you know good and well all they got to do is pull the trigger, then perhaps something like a Taurus Model 85 or something, which is not only an all-metal gun, but it has rubber grips. So you wouldn't have to worry about the heat. You'd be able to grab a hold of. It's just the trigger would be hot, but not that bad. As long as it's in a glove box and it's in the shade, it's not going to be that bad. I mean, I carry to work every day, and I have to leave it in a safe under the seat all day long, and it gets darn hot in a parking lot in Kansas in the summertime. But those guns aren't that hot to handle.
Good.
So those would be my recommendations.
Alrighty. And then last but certainly not least, until we circle back around anyway, Frankie, what do you have to say on the subject?
Because nobody said it, and I'm going to half say it as a joke. High Point.
I've been waiting to hear it all night.
But my real recommendation would be the Mossberg MC1SC.
Okay, I know earlier in the chat I saw somebody asked opinions on that. So it was Mike asking about that. So let's get your opinion on that.
I held it in my hands when I was at the NRA show and messed around with it a little bit. I really liked the way it felt. The grips are a little bit kind of unique. It's got that like grippy hard thing, and then it's smooth. So it's like a zigzag pattern. I don't know how to explain it all gun technical wise.
That's okay. We don't have to be all gun technical in here.
The magazines are clear, which I had never seen that before, and I thought that was unique. I didn't know how to respond to it at first. So, I mean, that's kind of cool. You can see the bullets in there.
Mm-hmm.
Really unique. But it wouldn't be, I would like to have it, and I definitely would recommend it.
Awesome. Alrighty.
What's the name of that one again?
That was the Mossberg. You could just put Mossberg pistol because it's the only pistol Mossberg's put out in the last 100+ years. So we all know which one it is. But for those of you who didn't get in here at the beginning, Sandhills Sweetheart's keeping a running tally on what gets listed and how many times they get listed too. So if you have something that somebody else said, that's okay, because we want to know what gets recommended more than others too. All right, so Squib, are you able to chime in on the topic now?
Yeah, let me roll up the window here. I get what you're saying about if it gets stolen, you don't want to be out a lot of money for this gun. You want it to work. You want it to be reliable. You want it to be somewhat weather, I don't want to say resistant, maybe acclimatized to where you're at, both the gun and the ammunition. I was actually looking at some ammo today that's designed for cold weather, and they absolutely recommended do not use this in warm weather. For those who reload, there's certain powders that do better in cold weather than warm weather, and such, etc. So they're just making sure you're aware of your ammunition type. And the first gun that I kind of thought of was the G2C or the PT-111. There's what's the current version of that?
G2C is
G2C and the G2S is the slimline model.
All right, those are the current version. Or if you got we're able to get an older used one, a PT-111, just because it's inexpensive and for a small gun, it's probably the only small gun I've ever shot that I actually liked. But the actual real answer from me though is I say don't do it at all. So I'm really not much help. Not only I'm not big on leaving a firearm in the vehicle, even if I lived out in the country. I don't know that I'd want to leave a firearm out in the vehicle or have one tucked away in the barn somewhere or something like that. I'd probably have it on me if I was going to be transporting it around, other than FOPA stuff, like in a case because you're going back and forth to hunt or to target shoot or to gunsmith or to go sell it or take it over to somebody's house to show it off or whatever it is. But I'm not big on leaving anything valuable or anything that you don't want to get in the wrong hands inside of a vehicle in front of your house. Even if you live in a neighborhood where theft isn't prevalent, it could still happen. But I'm probably not the right person, to answer that sort of question.
No, that's all right. I kind of, like I said, I like to get a viewpoint from a lot of different people here. Okay, so let's go back through and just discuss the shotgun options. And for now, we're not going to go around the horn. So anybody that has anything to say on the shotgun options that you didn't say earlier for Sam of Anarchy, go ahead and sound those off now.
I'd go for the Maverick 88. I've got the SP model that's got the extended tube. Now, granted, that's a long gun. It's not. It doesn't have a pistol grip on it or anything like that. But they're inexpensive. They're under $200. They work. But then again, any good used, name brand Remington, Mossberg pump action shotgun, nice pawn shop find for under $200 or a little over $200. Yeah, I think you're good to go there. And reason why: slugs or buckshot, availability of ammunition, just ease of use. You don't have to worry about a gas system or anything like that. You've got just levers to push the shell out, the extractor. It's really hard to beat the simple mechanisms of just a basic pump action shotgun for a defensive tool.
And the really cool thing is you can, if you're empty, then all you got to do, if you just, don't have the time to reload a lot. I mean, if you've got a pocket full of shotgun shells and you've got the action open, you can just pop one right in the ejection port and then slam it home, and you can reload that way. Even though it's not ideal, it's faster than you think it is once you get used to it. Excuse me. So you're right. Plus, if you want to switch between buck and slugs or something like that, then you're right. It's pretty versatile. And that's why I mentioned it earlier, because it's not crossed off the list necessarily. Now, one thing that Squib said, and I kind of want to comment on, because Squib, you're right as far as leaving a gun just in the vehicle all the time. I don't necessarily like that idea either, even if it's in a safe, just because that's the first thing that gets stolen. If somebody breaks into a vehicle and sees a safe, they're going to assume there's a gun or something valuable in it. But here's what happens in our life. Sometimes we'll be out and about, and we'll be in Sandhills Sweetheart's car. She doesn't have a gun safe in the car right now. And let's say we need to go into the bank, or we need to go someplace that I know, maybe it's a doctor's office. You can't carry in hospitals in Nebraska. So I don't go unarmed, but then we're in her car. There's no safe. What am I going to do with the thing? I can go to the trunk and stand out in front of God and everybody and, open up my coat or whatever, pull the firearm out, place it in the trunk where everybody can see. Or before I get out, I can pop open the center console and slip the pistol in there, close it real quick. And yeah, it's not as secure. But at the same time, it's not as likely to get noticed unless somebody's already broken into the car and going through it either. So that's kind of where I'm thinking, if we do something like that, maybe it'll get stored in a safe. It'll be a little bit more secure, but I don't want to be out a ton of money. And I know I'm talking about my carry gun, so it's already maybe a little bit more money, but something like that, just to have something in there all the time. And maybe we carry it in at night, but if we're out and about running errands, grocery shopping, and make a trip to Omaha, something like that we can just have there with us while we're traveling. So that's kind of just. Yeah,
okay, I was thinking you meant I want a gun in the vehicle 24/7. Period.
And I don't specifically not mean that either. I'm talking about there's lots of scenarios, and again, I'm doing this for my own personal research and benefit, but also for on behalf of anybody else who wants to get some great info and kind of dig in a little bit to the nuts and bolts and not just get a list of cheap guns, because we can all find that. So I kind of want to just kind of cover lots of scenarios, not just my own, to maybe benefit somebody that happens across this video. Or if you watch this and somebody else that's kind of maybe looking for not expensive options, you can share this with them too. So you're right. I'm not ruling anything out. Yeah, up to and including keeping a gun in your vehicle. This is Nebraska, and people do that all the time, especially long guns, or something under the seat or behind the seat of the pickup.
Yeah. I'm not saying it's wrong or anything like that. It's just not my thing. That's all.
Yep. Nope. I got you, and that's what I want is everybody's opinion. And I haven't gone through and listed any of my own choices, and just because I listed doesn't necessarily mean that's what I'm going to buy. But as I'm listening to everybody else and reading the chat, I'm kind of thinking, nobody's mentioned a 22 yet, but that's a great thing to keep in the vehicle, because it might not be for protection against a two-legged predator, but you might be in Nebraska and maybe you're going out fishing or something and you come across a snake or rabid skunk or coon or something like that. You have to dispatch. So a 22 maybe wouldn't be a bad idea, whether it's like a 10-22 that's not very long barreled, or a pistol of some sort. Somebody way early in the chat mentioned a Judge, which I don't think is ideal in my opinion, and I'm probably not going to buy one. But if I lived in rattlesnake country, then I could see that with some some number 8 shot.
Yeah, they make really good snake defense guns. If I was going to get a Judge, that's what it would be for. It would be for snake defense.
And I could see if I was up home at the ranch, because up in those hills where Travis and I tried to deer hunt, and we spent some time getting to know the lay of the land there at the bottom of that snowbank. In the summertime, there are rattlesnakes up in those hills. So I mean, you grow up in snake country, you just get used to watching where you step and wearing the right foot gear. But
you can just grab a stick and pick it up and fling it over into the bushes away from it, right?
Yeah, but you got prairie grass all around. You can't exactly see what you're wading through. You have to go off of sound.
That's true.
What if that stick tries to crawl away before you grab it, though?
I don't know. Last rattlesnake I messed with, I just poked him with a stick and stuff. He didn't have nothing.
But you're fearless.
The thing is, and I'm not going to get into going down the rabbit hole of whether or not to kill him or not, but growing up, any rattlesnake that we found, if it was close enough to dispatch it, we dispatched it. And just because it's not just for us, but I've seen cattle that were snake bit, and sometimes they come out of it, sometimes they don't, but it almost always leaves a big unsightly lump on a cow. And then when you take those cows to town and try to sell them, you just hope that the cattle buyer doesn't notice that one in the middle of the herd. And invariably, that's the one out on the edge as they go through the ring at the sale barn. So it's not just for personal protection in cow country. It's also to help protect the livestock, the investment, the livelihood there too. Also, and I can't believe nobody else has mentioned this one either, but if you watch the right sales, the Walther Creed, I'm still very intrigued by that one. I think
$249, dude, on CDNN.
$249 right now.
Well, okay,
Always.
$299. We didn't know. We found it for $249 again last week. Remember?
Yeah,
I posted
that's
a link
right. Because
for
you
it.
and I were talking about that when we did our Q&A chat.
Whenever I look at CDNN, it seems as like the prices on those things. I don't think they ever change the price on them.
They
They always say it's on sale, but it's
$249.
always the same price.
So okay, so so I want to get into a couple different things here before we sign off tonight. So let's go through and we're not going to go around the panel, but we'll get everybody a chance to speak up and again not talk over each other. But firearms, whether they've been mentioned or not, and we're not attacking you, even if you made this choice, we're attacking the firearm itself if we wouldn't recommend it. But what would you recommend staying away from, and why would you say to stay away from that particular gun?
The EZ that everybody likes.
Okay. Why is that?
I held it in my hands, and that button in the back, I couldn't really push it in the way it's supposed to. And holding the gun comfortably in my hand, not doing some kind of weird twisting or maneuvering of my hand, which you don't want to do when you're learning and training with a firearm. You want to be comfortable and normal and accurate. I hate that button.
Now, I have read or heard, or both, that it doesn't take a whole lot of pressure to release the grip safe. You don't have to push it all the way in, is basically what people have said, in order to let the trigger go ahead and move rearward. Did you try dry firing with your normal shooting grip?
I did.
And it just didn't pull?
Just didn't pull.
Okay.
I couldn't push it, even just like barely pushing it in so that, that just a little bit of pressure, it'll still work kind of thing. No, complete down to me.
And in your case, now that's more than likely not a case of a grip strength issue, as it is just a overall size of your hands issue, more than likely, right?
I think that's what it is. My hand is just too small.
Okay. But that is something to keep in mind. If you've got, the smaller frame, the smaller hands, shorter fingers, then you definitely want to make sure that if your gun has a grip safety, that you can manipulate that. And it doesn't matter if it's a self-defense gun or a vehicle gun or just a safe queen. If you can't shoot it right, then you can't shoot it accurately, and then you won't shoot it because it's no fun. Nobody wants to shoot a gun that they can't hit anything with. So always keep that in mind. That's a great idea. And I'd never even considered that some people's hands might not be big enough to operate that.
And in your case, Frankie, the new shield in 9mm with the 4-inch barrel might be a better choice if you want a firearm that size.
I haven't researched that one enough. Does that one have a little bit lighter recoil spring than
It's basically the shield with a longer barrel. It probably uses the same recoil spring as what the 2.0 compact would, because it's the same size, only it's a single stack.
Because I just cleared mine, but the factory spring on this, now it's worked itself over time. It's a little bit better, but this is not an easy gun to rack the slide on. So
I got my 2.0 compact here. It's basically the same size as what the Shield 2.0 is, only it's a double stack instead of single stack. And so it's bigger. It's going to have a bigger recoil spring. I can pull that back with just like 2 fingers.
Right. Because you've got more mass in your slide.
Right. I mean, this is a much easier recoil spring. It doesn't have anywhere near as much tension as what the Shield does. So, I mean, this one would probably be, if they're going to, which I would assume they would use the same recoil spring and whatnot that's in here in the 4.0 Shield, since they have more to work with. Because this regular Shield's only a 3.1, so they got to put as much tension in that little spring as they can, whereas in the 4.0 they'll be able to put a bigger spring in there. So it probably would leave some of that tension, especially in the 9mm. This is a 40, by the way, and it doesn't have anywhere near as much recoil tension as what my Shield 40 does, as far as the spring's concerned. So that's something to look at too. You might want to look at the 4.0 Shield. I mean, the 4-inch 2.0 Shield.
Okay. Does anybody have anything else that they want to recommend staying away from? Nobody. I noticed out in the chat, a few people mentioned it early, but nobody on the panel said that they should carry a Sky CPX2.
Yeah, I was getting to that.
Yeah, for your Travis.
So, there's a lot of people that have had good luck with them. I've owned 3, and all 3 had some sort of issues. My carry gun of 3 years just quit working, basically, wouldn't extract, or I basically bore out the extractor in less than 1,000 rounds. Frame pins coming out, all 3 had that problem. You hear people that have trigger components that break, springs that break. I suppose the first 50 rounds is probably going to work for you. If that's all you need, that's great. But for $20, well, here I'm looking at, again, we were talking about CDNN. You can get an EC9S for $200. That's, the Ruger, that's the same price as a CPX2. So I just say go the Ruger route or go with a G2C for the same price, maybe 10, 15 bucks more than a CPX2. I just didn't have good luck with this. So I'd say stay away from it, but that's just me. Some people might have CPX2s with thousands of rounds on them. They're still running. So if they are, good for you. But that's not my choice.
Now, I didn't get a lot of time to do research tonight when I was eating my supper before I ran in here and found out that my computer was didn't crash. It just restarted and takes a while. But I was looking, just because I was reading emails on my phone, and I had an email from PSA with the daily deals. And as I was looking through that, then I decided, well, let's just see what they've got, because they've got a filter in their search or in their, when you're shopping firearms, you can filter out a certain price point, and it's not in slots. It's, you can put in whatever price point you want for your parameters. So I put in everything under 350, and the Taurus, what is it, the TH9, the hammer fired?
Yeah, TH9T, and then the TH9C, and then the TH40 9 and C. Yeah.
So the TH9 was like 289 or something like that, I think.
Yeah, I've seen them as low as 260 on Buds. They're just basically the newer version of the PT809 series.
Are those worth looking into?
I know Roll Call has one. He's been testing one on his channel. I would want to definitely make sure it's broken in before I trust it to daily car duty. I'm sure it's going to be okay. I really haven't heard a lot of complaints about it. So at this point, I think it'd be okay, but I don't know. I was really interested in them when they first came out, and then I couldn't get one. Like, there were none for sale. I waited and waited and waited literally a year for a couple websites to get them in stock, and now everybody's got them in stock. But I'd watch Roll Call's video on it and see what kind of luck he's had on his. And there's probably a million other channels that have reviewed it too. So I really can't comment on it. I mean, I'm sure it's okay. If it's PT809 lineage, it should be a good gun. But I know with that gun also, magazines are kind of an issue trying to locate mags for it. That can be a problem because PT809 mags are pretty scarce right now.
Sure.
So that's, if you want to get 4 or 6 extra mags or whatever, you might have trouble finding them. So that's something to consider. So, yeah.
I just thought of another one that will be on the good list as well. That the Ruger Security 9. You can find those for under $350. Academy, I was just looking, it's got them on sale right now for $299.99. So, I mean, that's a good one right there. Kingpin loves his. He's always talking about how good a shooter his is.
They fit the hand really well. I mean, they're about Glock 19 size, maybe a little bit smaller, just maybe a tad bit, not quite as wide, but yeah, they're awesome guns.
So over in the side chat, I see, Travis, that you had listed the SIG police trade-in, the P229.
No, SP. Well, yeah, there's a couple police trade-in models I've been showing off there. A CDNN's got a SP 2340 40 Smith double action only trade-in for $269.
Cool.
That's about about $500 when that was brand new 550. They've also got SD9 VEs for $269 and SD40 VEs for $269. So if you just go to these gun websites and filter by price and start at the lowest end and work your way up, it is amazing what you can get for under $300. But yeah, those LEO trade-ins, $359, I think was about the best price that I've seen for that 226 and 40, if I'm not mistaken, double action only. So,
and then, okay, anybody have anything else that they want to say to stay away from?
Glocks.
And why is that, Squib?
They're poop.
Because they're poop. Okay.
Now, I don't like Glocks, but I'm not going to tell anybody to just outright avoid them just to avoid them.
I got a G17 and I love it. It's not the most ergonomically pleasing thing to shoot, but it always goes bang.
Yeah,
I mean,
Squib and I have some history. I know how Squib feels about Glocks, and I know why Squib feels that way about Glocks. And I would never say this out loud to you, Squib, but you and Yankee actually agree with each other a lot on that.
Oh, I need a shower.
I would never say that to you.
I just don't like their. I don't like their grip angle. I don't like their stock sights. I don't like their polymer. The fact that they come with a polymer recoil assembly. I mean, it's just there's so much about Glocks I don't like. But I wouldn't outright tell somebody if they like it and it works for them. They're not bad guns. I mean, but I just.
He said, "What would you avoid?" He didn't say, "What should someone else avoid?"
No, he said, "What would you tell somebody?"
What would you recommend to stay away from? Is what I said. Yes.
I'm saying I wouldn't recommend somebody stay away from them if it works for them and something that they're looking at. I mean, if you can get used to having to point down to shoot a Glock straight, that's fine. I mean, that's not natural.
Since it was the first thing I bought, I actually point everything else high. So I hear you. It's just what you get used to, and what you spend the range time with. But everything that you mentioned, despite all that, I mean, they do have the reputation for reliability, and at the end of the day, you can't knock that. And when I think about guns, not so much the high point, because those, as a rule, have for reliability, they don't have a bad rap. But when I think about some of the cheaper brands of firearms out there, and then I think about even a used Glock or M&P or SIG or something like that, that started out, when it was new, it was $500, $600, $700 gun, and now you're getting it for $250, $350 because it's used. And like Travis said, a new recoil spring doesn't cost that much. Make sure that the barrel hasn't been shot out, and pretty much you're good to go. I mean, but those guns, even used, are going to be a little bit more reliable as a whole, I would say, than some of the brands that specifically sell just cheap guns, right?
If you're getting a Glock for $350 or $400, you're getting one at a price that they should be, because they're decent guns. They're not $500 or $600 guns, which is what you'll pay for them, brand new. If they were $350 or $400 guns, I would be more in the Glock camp. But for what they are, they're $350, $400 guns. They're not $500 or $600 guns.
I've been saying that for a while, that for what they are, and don't get me wrong, I'll buy a more expensive gun if, for me, it's a good shooter. There's something about it. The sights are really good. The way it feels, there's something about it. I don't know. I mean, there's so many different factors involved. But if it's just a utility gun, it works. It goes bang. But there's nothing that just grabs me about it, or it's going to be more effort to deal with, or whatever it is. That's something to consider. But a Glock is a Glock is a Glock is a Glock. I mean, it's like a base model of any sedan. It's a you can soup them up. You can put all kinds of stuff on there, and that is one real nice thing about them. I'll say that about them, that they are upgradable, and a lot of people do upgrade them. But it's a base model. It'll get the job done, but it's like going down to the dealership and just going, "Give me the cheapest version of this car that you've got." It's not saying, "Give me the XLT Lariat." You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. But there's something to be said too for the people that want to buy that stripped down F-150 and then put their own trim on it, and do the work themselves and customize it and trick it out. I get it. My Glock isn't tricked out. My Glock's not customized in any way, shape, or form. Again, the only things that I've done to it are cosmetic. I put Talon grips on it, and I put a mill spin back plate on it. And there's a plastic grip plug in a little hole in the grip. That's it.
Yeah, I think that they aren't. if I liked them more or liked them at all, the price would still shy me away because for what they are, yeah, they're not. Now that's not to say that if I ever get one, I'm not going to look for a cheap used one because that's probably about the only way you're going to get me into one. You're going to have to bring it down. I mean, I already don't like it, and it's there's nothing special about it. So you got to kind of keep it cheap. So.
Mm-hmm.
So here's my question: is the SIG P365 worth $500? Is that $500 worth of material sitting right there? I'm like, the equivalent of what you're really getting.
I think you're paying for the name. I think, and that's not the knock. SIG makes
honestly,
good stuff, but I think you're paying for the.
Now, I'm not because I know you have one, but from what I've seen, and that's one that I'm seriously looking at, and that may be one of the next purchases, at least for a carry gun. But I think part of what you're paying for is the innovation too, because it's a double stack, or almost a double stack, 10-round magazine that is barely thicker than my shield, which is, arguably a single stack.
Oh yeah.
When my extended magazine, excuse me, when my extended magazine holds 8 and this one only holds 7. And that P365 holds 10 and 12 in the magazines. You're paying for the innovation because they built the magazine first and then figured out the smallest gun they could wrap around that magazine. Mm-hmm. And I wish more companies would innovate like that, to be honest.
And that gun is tiny. I can't stress how tiny that gun is.
It's almost a pocket gun.
It is a pocket gun.
For the right guy, it is. Or girl.
Yeah. I've put it in my pocket and carried it.
I mean, I've got cargo shorts that my Glock 19 is a pocket gun too. So, not the cargo pocket. I'm talking about my front pocket. So it depends on what you wear too. But okay, before we go wrap everything up, there's one thing that I want to get into, and we'll roundtable this too. But for those of you who are carrying in a vehicle, there's a couple things that I just want to impart my knowledge, my wisdom, and the world according to Sandhills. I saw somebody earlier was mentioning getting one of those magnets that you can mount by your knee or by your leg there in your vehicle. You guys do what you want. Obviously, I'm never going to tell anybody what to do or what not to do, but here's my thoughts. I'm never going to put something like that in my vehicle, in my house. I'm never going to carry a gun in any way, shape, or form where this can happen. Okay, if your trigger is exposed, and if you've got this mounted, like right here, and you go to grab for it, and you don't grab it right, and you happen to,
hit a bump, dude.
We're clear here, but if you happen to hit that thing and send it around, through your foot or through your transfer case or whatever, that's not good. I cannot, in good conscience, recommend any kind of magnet as a gun holder for that particular reason. Plus, what if little fingers happen to be crawling around in the vehicle and that's exposed like that?
Plus, it won't hold a plastic gun like a Glock.
or a ceramic one.
Yeah, it's made out of porcelain.
Porcelain, that's what
I'm porcelain. Change your mind.
It costs more than you make in a month.
I'm about to change your mind.
Okay, go ahead.
That is a magnet.
Okay, hold on. Let me. Where's my mouse? Let me lock this on to you so that everybody can see.
You're gonna have to deal with potato cam because I've got poopy internet. But
that's okay. So the magnet is on the flat side there by your fingers, or the two magnets?
Yep. Magnets are up here.
Okay. So then it does protect the trigger guard.
Yep.
Okay, so it's the first one of those I've ever seen.
So I believe it's the first one out.
Okay, that solves the problem I just described. And I don't see that being the end of the world. However...
And it is a Stinger brand.
Okay. Where did you get that? Can you post a link to that up?
I got it on Amazon.
Okay. That's pretty cool. That might be worth checking into.
I want to say it was like $30 for the pair of them.
How strong is that magnet? I mean, what if you get into a car accident? Is your gun going to go flying?
It's not coming out of there. It's
So
not.
you want
It's not going to come out of there. You got the magnets, and then you've got a little bit. It's locked in a little bit on the trigger guard.
Okay, that's cool. That is very cool. All right. So aside from that Stinger mount, I just can't recommend it. I've got the alien gear set up in my Tahoe. The cloak, what is it? Cloak mod. It's the paddle holster, and there's the mount that's available for that. I've got that on my side of the center console by my knee, and then on the other side I've got the mount from the Shapeshift, where you can take your shift shell and pop it into there. And so we've got a few different options as far as how to mount the guns in the vehicle. Now, I don't like leaving it there, obviously, if I'm not in it where it's exposed, although sometimes I'll leave it on my side and just flop a coat or something over the console, and then again, it's out of sight and not a temptation, which, of course, if you've got valuables in your vehicle, you should always have them covered or not on display anyway. So the magnet is one of the things I would recommend. Still, I'm going to recommend against it unless you are very positive that your trigger guard is completely covered like that. Another thing that I'm going to recommend against is all the cool stickers that you get. The USCCA sticker, the Ruger sticker, the gun channel sticker, even. That's getting to be popular where people know what it is. Don't tread on me, all that stuff. They're cool stickers. And if you want to put them on your gun safe or wherever you want to put them, that's great. But if you put them in the back window of your vehicle, then you're basically saying, and I think we've talked about this before, but the picture we've seen on Facebook and Instagram of the guy with the come and take it sticker in the back window of his vehicle, and then that shows the same vehicle with the back window broken out because they came and took them. Don't make your vehicle stand out as, look at me, there's guns in here, come get them. So think about that as you're putting stuff on your vehicle as far as stickers and stuff like that. Just keep in mind, what message are you actually sending people? It's cool that you're sending a message that says, I'm a gun person, I'm pro Second Amendment. We love that you're spreading that message. Just don't spread the message that there's something in there that's worth busting a window out for. Because even if there's no guns in there, how will they know until the window's already broken and then you've got that repair bill? So just again, keep a couple things in mind. As far as actual vehicle holsters and safes and things like that, I would love to get into that, and we may hear in weeks to come, but we're going to run out of time before we do it tonight. So we won't get into that tonight, but I think we will probably cover vehicle carry and options and ways to mount holsters and even some magnets and things like that. Whether we recommend them or not, people are using them. So, and just ways to carry behind the seat, under the seat, on the roof, and how do you secure your firearms in your vehicle? I want to check out that new vehicle safe that Hornady's putting out, the Rapid Safe. That looks pretty cool. So, I've seen some reviews, but if anybody has actual firsthand experience with the Hornady vehicle safe, let me know what you think about that too. So, all right. So,
biometric, or is it?
It's a Rapid Safe, so it is RFID, and then it's got I think it's got the backup combo and key. If I remember, that's how the Rapid Safes go. So, they've got a Rapid Safe for about every application. One for under the bed, one for in the closet, or just a wall mount that'll secure a shotgun or an AR. They've got one for in the back hatch of a vehicle, or under under the back seat of a vehicle or something. Bedside, they've got lots of different Rapid Safe options, and there is one that mounts with a basically an air bladder. You slide that between the bucket seat and the console, and then you pump that up full of air, and it literally, you can't pull the safe out. And then it's a narrow safe. The end pops open, and you can, it presents your handgun, and you can grab it out of there if you need it, which is kind of cool. And I like the RFID. It comes with the 12-volt adapter, so you can plug it in and power it off the car. so it's always ready to go. And then you can have the silicone bracelets or the keychain, or I think they make stickers that you can put on the back of your phone. There's a lot of the ways that you can just bump that up there and it pops open and there's your handgun. But without that, it doesn't open without the combo or the key. So I really am thinking that might be a worthy investment if people can tell me that they're actually as secure as the cool video makes it look on Hornady's website. And my experience, anything from Hornady is not crap. So the name alone makes me want to trust it. But if you've got things to say about those, you can sure email sandhillsshooter@gmail.com and let us know. All right, so we're going to wrap things up. I've got kind of an early morning at work tomorrow, so I don't want to go super, super late tonight. We will let everybody say goodnight, and then we will go through the list and thank everybody for being here. Real quick, I'm going to refresh one more time and see who all was chatting out in the gun channels side here. Aha, the list. So over on gun channels, we had Pete, we had Gung Ho. Who else was in there? I also saw, I don't remember who else I saw in there. Now, I saw G-Webs at one point saying thanks for posting, and of course, we like to always post that up on gun channels. But glad to have everybody with us over on the gun channel side. And then on the YouTube side, we had Guitar Man Pete, we had Stephen Brown, we had Gun Loving Grandpa, we had a different Stan, SS Pawn, we had Gung Ho here as well, Josieola, Two Live Moo, Blue Steel 44, Seven Wonders, Rich White doing double duty, Mike, Obnoxious doing double duty, D-Temp, Frankie doing double duty, Gary doing double duty, Poor Conservative, Joe Smith was in the house, Michael Stan was in the house. I don't think we've seen Michael before, so welcome, Michael. Let's see. We said Blue Steel, 10X Shooters. Let's say Chris Kroll. Sam of Anarchy, formerly Nightwolf. Rob C was in the house. What's up, Rob? Tara Smith. I don't remember if we've seen you before, Tara, but I think I've seen you on previous chats, either here or other chats, but welcome. Revolver was here. 9mm Mia was here. Samson 1, Unknown User, Smarty Pants, Vanessa Kitty, Travis T, Blitz made it. What's up, Blitz? Midnight Rain showed up, probably because Mia told him he had to. And Locks, Rocks, and Whatnots, which is, again, that's a new name for me. I haven't seen you, so welcome. Always great to have everybody with us. If you're out there and you're watching on YouTube and you haven't commented, we don't know you're there, so make sure you say hi. Looks like Hap is in the house. We haven't said hi to Hap yet, so all right, we'll see if anybody else makes a comment. We're gonna let everybody say goodnight, so let's start with the lady again. Ladies first. Frankie, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me. Hope everyone has a good night. Just to reiterate, I did have the Glock video take off, so I'm going to be doing a whole series on that versus every other gun in my house.
And that is the 43X, right?
Yes, sir. So
Okay.
It's going to be really exciting. I plan to have a lot of fun with that, so just stay tuned and enjoy that.
All right, and as soon as we sign off, you are welcome to go over there and watch that video at that point. All right, Gary, thanks for being here and joining in with us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. You're always welcome at my fire, pal. All right. Anything you want to plug on your channel? Or Frankie, I guess. You plug your video.
On my channel, let's see, Foul Territory Friday nights, 9 Eastern, 8 Central. Early Bird Chat Sunday mornings, 10 Eastern, 9 Central. GizzardGary.com and give them the bird.
Give them the bird. Frankie, did you have anything else you wanted to mention as far as your channel goes or videos, or just stay tuned for what's coming on the Glock?
Stay tuned. Frankie's Guns and Glitter on YouTube and on Instagram. I do post updates on Instagrams as videos coming up and just fun things just to interact with the audience and fan base.
Awesome. All right. Obnoxious, thanks for being here with us.
Thanks for having me, sir. Check out my channel, Obnoxious One. You can also find me over on GunTube. gun channels, gun streamer, gun stuff, gun things, gun whatnots, gun who's it, guns and thingamabobs, and guns and thingamajigs.
Fry
And-
guns, boiled guns, steam guns.
That's
Gunsbo.
that's
Bubba
not it.
Guns. You can find me over on Bubba Guns. And yeah, the Gram and the Facebook and the Twitter and all that stuff.
Awesome. All right. Rich, appreciate you being here. Always a good time. You always have some awesome stuff to say as well.
Yeah, no problem, man. Thanks for having me. And yeah, be sure to check out This Week Unloaded over on the Unloaded Media channel, Sunday nights at 8 Eastern. And real quick, Squid brought up the customizability of the Glock being a big selling point. We are now starting to see the same levels of customization with the M&Ps, so keep an eye out for that. That's going to be a big game changer, I think, coming down the line with how many people are going to start buying M&Ps compared to Glocks. Because you can start, they're starting to get where you get the quote-unquote Gucci type slides, triggers, and barrels with them as what you see with the Glocks. So it's going to be an interesting turn of events to see how this goes with those two in their level of competition now.
I tell you what, whenever I see law enforcement, I try not to stare and obviously create an issue, but I always want to see what they're carrying in their holster. And I'm starting to see way more and more M&Ps and not as many Glocks anymore. So I know it's they are gaining a toehold, and of course I don't think anybody's going to knock Glock off the top of the mountain anytime soon. But it is kind of cool, even watching TV and seeing cops on TV. More and more Smith & Wesson are making it into TV shows, which I like my Glock, but I also I love to see American made, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, we got 3 departments where I live. We got the city police, the sheriff's department, and the state police, and the West Virginia State Police. They all carry Smith & Wessons.
That's awesome. So,
right. Sandhills. Not
Yes.
that I'm pro Glock, but you know they have a factory in Georgia, right?
Yeah. Smyrna.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it is
Yeah.
American made, sort of.
Well, yeah, but the money doesn't stay here.
Oh, okay.
But honestly, I don't even remember anymore who owns Smith & Wesson, and does the money still stay in the country? I honestly...
Oh, yeah. I didn't think of it like that.
At what point do we keep the money in the country no matter who's buying what? So, hey, Calaveras made it finally. Isn't that just like him? He's like a blister. Now that the work is done, he shows up. Good to have you here, Calaveras. All right, Squib, thanks for being here. Anything that you want to talk about as far as what's coming up next on Speaking Squibbish or anything else?
Well, that would be over on the Squib Load channel, but I'm promoting the Squib Lift channel.
My
Squib
bad.
Lift, all one word. And I do have some videos ready to go out. Nothing spectacular, but just different kind of videos most of the time over on the Squib Lift channel. There will be some crossovers where I maybe do a Squib Load version and a Squib Lift version, or one is the long version, one's the short. They might be on about the same thing, done a different way, but for the most part, it's kind of a separate channel with a separate theme.
Cool. Well, make sure that everybody goes and checks out Squib Lift along with Squib Load, and like and subscribe.
Thank you.
You bet. All right. And Travis, you've been here before in the panel.
Just a couple times, you know. I'm just participating on this little Glock feud we got going on the inside chat right now. But anyway, we're all just trying to justify why we bought our Glocks. But anywho, yeah, make sure you check out the channel, Travis P11. I got a ton of content on there. Make sure you guys check out the playlist. Caliber Corner be coming up Thursday, 5 to 7 Central Time, 6 to 8 East Coast Time. Get over gunchannels.com. Subscribe to everybody on the panel here, and thanks for the invite, man. Appreciate
Absolutely.
it. Yep.
Thanks for being here. All right, and I don't think anybody else besides Hap and Calaveras jumped in the chat since we listed everybody off. So thank you, all of you, for joining us. Without you, this chat goes nowhere. We don't have a channel if there's nobody watching the videos. So thank you, those of you that we see week in and week out. Those of you that are new, we appreciate you too. All of you, please like and share this. Talk about it. Just tell your friends at work tomorrow that that you were part of a chat last night. We talked about some budget options and whether you're going to keep it in a vehicle or not. These are all great guns for not a lot of money. So if you've got friends or relatives who are actually into guns, then who wouldn't want to listen to what we had to say tonight? So just tell everybody about it. Ask them to talk about it too and share it, subscribe, do all that fun stuff. You can catch Sandhills Shooter here on YouTube or over on gun channels. You can also catch us on guntube.org, although I haven't done a whole lot over there in a while, just because of too many irons in the fire and too many places to keep up. We're on Gunstreamer, we are on Patreon, and we're revamping what's going to happen there. We are going to be asking for more Patreon support because we are capitalists. And if you like what we do, then we would appreciate your support. We will make it worth your time. We'll start doing maybe some chats. I think the end of the month chat is going to be for patrons only. We're going to go away from Facebook because not that many people join us there. But we'll make it a Patreon only thing the last Tuesday of the month, starting with this month, the last one in June. We'll go to just the patrons. And if I right now I don't have so many patrons that I think just about everybody will fit. So if that changes by the end of the month, that'd be cool. I'm not e-begging. I'm not asking you for money, but if you want to support us, that's where to do it. We will make it worth your time. We are capitalists. We don't work for free. If you're good at something, never do it for free. That's what the Joker said. And I'm trying to get good at something here. So. All right. Love you guys. God bless you. Thanks for being here. This has been 2A Tuesday. Peace out.
Adios, Felicia.
Adios,
Give me the word.
Felicia.
Down,
And
Felicia.
get off my lawn.